Hey folks, welcome back to Let's Play Final Fantasy X-2. I am the mysterious JG. Last time we picked up, well, I did a little blitzball in spite of myself, but then we picked up a Crimson Sphere. And we are now 2 Crimson Spheres short of being able to watch the entire narrative of the Crimson Squad, although actually there are key spheres for Nuge, Gipple, and Barreleye, which are part of it, and we will not be able to get the Gipple Sphere in this run, so we're going to miss. Those spheres actually tell you a little bit about what happened to the characters after the events that make up the Crimson story. So, it is what it is, and we'll be all right. But I kind of want to look at those spheres in sequence after we've got them all. So let's get to Bavel and do some Bavel stuff. A new Yevon. Praetor Barrelite still missing, but it looks like New Yevon's remaining members are holding the party together. Let's go check it out with their crazy New York accents. Like, hey, we gotta hold the party together over here. Oh, I love the theme music here. People have calmed down somewhat thanks to you, Lady Una. It seems no one knows what we should do next. I give thanks that my only duty is to operate this lift. Will you be taking a ride? That's right, baby. But when he started talking to us about New Yevon, I was like, I sure hope this doesn't mean we can no longer take the lift. And I find myself wondering what would have happened if I tried to go to that treasure chest we opened at the end of the last video, back during chapter 3 or 4. Well, 4 it couldn't have, but... Even if New Yevon falls apart, Bavel will always be my home. Again. I should take a look actually at Intrepid. Yeah, I don't want anybody on that grid because we'll have some actual battles ahead of us if we go into the if we do what I think we're gonna do shortly, then we'll actually wanna equip use mug. That's not bad. This one's not bad either, although I'd need swordplay abilities. Bushido! Death and Doom. Confuse, Silence and Blind. Gravity Eater is really good in very specific circumstances. High Road Winds isn't bad. Defense and Magic Defense plus 15 as a baseline thing is pretty good too, actually. That's like a good neutral kind of one to have. So maybe I should get Unwavering Guard actually going with some stuff. It certainly would have to include Gun Mage, because you never know when you'll come across an enemy that you can steal techniques from. Thief is good. Dark Knights are good for attack. I've mastered it, but Berserker is good for certain circumstances, and Alchemist is kind of essential. So that means that we don't have the breaks, but that's probably the worst disadvantage of this setup. Doesn't have Samurai. Is there something I could take out to replace with Samurai? Not really. Can probably have the girls all on Dark Knight, since nobody's mastered that one yet, as far as I can recall. Because I don't remember the specific bosses that we'll be fighting for tactics, but it's going to be a thing fairly shortly. And just having people using the Dark Knight Dress Sphere is generally one of the safer ones to have. What was the deal with Intrepid? Oh, I was using it for... Yeah, because I was trying to power level through learning skills. And that's what that one's good for. It's not one that you want to use when the gameplay is getting serious. Crystal Bangle, max HP's double. That's pretty good. Smooth sailing. I hate that slow effect. Somebody needs to have ribbon. Somebody needs to have heady perfume. I don't think, unfortunately, Invincible is going to be that useful. No one's high enough level to really take advantage of it. Heady perfume is pretty good. So defense at 154, magic at 116. Boy, it's not a huge boost they're getting from this garment grid compared to where it's already at, but... Tetra bracelet's good. Adamantite plus ribbon makes Yuna very, very difficult to defeat. So we'll see what's going to happen with that. Lady, your new song will help me make it through the tough days, and you'll help me make it through the night. Something about the Praetor, whatever. I don't know why I click on their dialogue and then click past it without even giving it anywhere near enough time to read. If somebody feels like it, they can go see what that was and put it in the comments. But I think I've just shown how much I care about what those two ladies have to say. Hey.
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 Hi,
Happy New Year.
aren't you a member of the Youth League? What are you doing in front of New Yevon's?
This is my primary hangout. It has been all
I've
game.
been asking myself the same question.
Oh, you missed the
Look.
New Yevon, or the Yevon, don't you? The Yevon. Hey, the new Praetor.
My brother heard that Bavel was a mess and came all the way from Xanarkand.
All the way from South China Sea.
Hey, he can do what he wants, but what I want to know is, how did I get dragged into this?
Well, you're here. You didn't...
You're protecting Bavel together.
Dipshit.
Yeah, I guess that's about right. Somebody's got to watch his back.
And Lord knows Hase won't.
We're talking about how brothers have to stick together.
Yeah, well, I got a new family.
Okay. See you later, Lady Yuna. Kindergardians, move out.
But you're not protecting your brother. Oh, they've added a new member to the Kinderguardians, too, in the form of a little priestess girl. The real Youth League.
They're multiplying.
Oh, that's
they're turning
weird.
into a regular kindercore.
Well,
They're like-
at least they're having fun.
They're the real Youth League. You guys are the
Maybe
old man
fun
league.
is all this world really needs.
Well, food and water are good, too.
Isaru's changed too, huh?
Not really.
Him? He'll never change.
He's like War.
He goes around playing superhero and leaves us with all the headaches.
Hey, I know someone like that.
Yeah.
Oh, someone who goes around playing superhero, is it?
I saved the world, damn it!
You mean brother?
Wrong.
Buddy?
Nope.
Shinra, of course.
Well, Riku, why don't we get going?
Yep, sounds good.
Well, I'll just stay here then. Fuck you two. You go to hell. You go to hell and you die.
Tell me who.
Oh, come on. She's not supposed to be that stupid, is she? It's clearly Shinra, so, you know. Mystery solved. We got the Scourgebane Garment Grid. Watch that one turn out to be way better than the one I just got done setting up on camera. Oh, and of course we're warped back to the ship, so we got to go all the way back. This game's assumption that you don't want to be at the place you just went to, so they always warp you back to the... Scourgebane, eh? Let's see what that one's about. Hopefully it's nice and far down the list. That would mean it's actually decent, but... Yeah, this one appears to be kind of useless, because there's other ones that if you pass through 5 gates or 4 gates, you get ribbon. So, like, somehow if you don't do what you need to do to get Abominable, which in fairness might have come from the international version, yeah, there's no reason you would use Scourgebane if you have access to the Abominable. Abdominal. Brr, 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 brr. So let's save on a new slot in case I fuck this up. It's been a while. Biggest disappointment of the LP so far, for me at least, is that I fucked up being able to get the Gipple Sphere and just show it off. The Nipple Sphere. You need to spend more time getting to know yourself. Isn't that like a euphemism for something? Go on, pretend you don't know, but Riku and I can see right through you. Well, that's because of the power that your having matching colored eyes gives you. So, going back to Bavel. New Yevon is accepting new members. Sounds like they're reforming. Hope they have the sense to get rid of all those secrets. Guess we'll see. Ooh, hey, check this out. We'll just have to take one thing at a time. So he's chatting up a new Yevon lady, eh? Please do not take offense if any are rude to you. These are troubling times. You whore. Some of our soldiers are still watching for the League and its spies. We had to see the youngins grow up, but this is ridiculous. Kindergartens on alert. Okay, so the Kindergartens are patrolling the town. And joining our blitzball team. Kindergartens on patrol. Ah, so the Kindergartens are citizens, eh? Good morning, citizen. It's the Thomas Jefferson hour. Your conversation with or about Thomas Jefferson. 99 times about, because Clay Jenkinson's taken over. We all have to live up to Rhoda's example. No, you don't. You might want to try living up to somebody else's example, actually. Didn't listen to you guys last time. Okay. Oh. Didn't mean to backtrack. That time I took the time to read it. I just didn't read it aloud. Hey, if that was my home, I cannot leave. It wouldn't be right. We'll be leaving for the far plains soon, old man. There's one for Song of Hearts are one with the Praetors, aren't they? Okay, so they both mentioned the song and the Praetor. Well, it looks like there's somebody running around up on the top level there. I wonder if it's worth taking the time to go see what they have to say. I have faith Lord Sorrow will defend Bavel. From what? From anyone actually getting to visit it? Were Verli to return, Yevon would know peace once again. Except that he'd have a horrible war with Saru. Saru's been through much and grown wiser for it. Yeah, he's been through a lot of weird monkey business at the tourist trap he tried to set up. So, first of all, let's head up here. Or down there. That's not what I meant to do, but... Don't think there's a purpose in going through all of this stuff again, because you actually get to choose which hole you're going to jump down to go to the far plane and actually initiate the end game, but you do that by talking to Brother. I don't think there's any point in actually physically getting yourself back to those locations. So we're going to delay our trip into the optional super dungeon just enough to go up and talk to the guy who's running around on the roof level, because I'm curious if you get an item for it. And then we will go. And it is a room that we've had access to for the entire game, but there was nothing apparently going on there. Basically, it is the room opposite the one we just came out of, on the right. Here, Sarah, as a way of managing even the most complicated tasks. That's right, Passe has been leading a bunch of kids on a search of Bavel. Bavel's corridors and hidden passages are as deep and twisted as its history. Happy New Year, Vulture. Oh, hey, here's a Sarah. Maybe I'll get an item for talking to him. Yuna, please, leave these unimportant duties to me. Yuna, please, leave Bavel under my control. Here's Sarah really knows how to get things done. Yeah, look at the way he's standing there. He's really getting shit done. Looks like Lord Sorrow would make a good praetor. These people are fools. You better have something for me. Lord Sorrow, we're still to lead us credit to former summoners everywhere. That's all you got? Son of a bitch. Yeah, well, it's still kind of nice for a unit to get a little fresh air. I guess that's just another place where you can change the lift settings, because it doesn't... I don't know. Oh, that's a window. That's not actually the way in. There may be more secrets to Bevel than I know. But I'm still figuring that in this playthrough we'll actually get to the bottom of the super duper monster or ultimate dungeon.
Look, the gull wings.
Well, it's just Yuna, really,
Lady
but...
Yuna, look! Ta-da! We found it all by ourselves.
Okay. It's kind of weird that I couldn't find it before, since I was in here searching this room, but... They let me in the kindergartens too, ain't it cool? Hey, a named character. Those two will... Think those two will be okay on their own? I'm staying put. Coward. Oh, Posse will find us a big treasure. Oh, he's gonna find more than treasure in that... If he keeps poking around at that teleporter. He's gonna find trouble right here in River City. Via Infinito, Cloister 1.
Where are we?
Another big old dungeon.
I know a place just like this.
It's awesome. I love to hang out there.
It's the, Farplane. Oh, I wanted to say it.
How is this like the far plane, other than that it's got
Sorry.
pyroflies, I guess?
First in a year, you are.
It's Mr. Question. It's Giovanni, the final gym leader. It's Captain
Who are you?
Liverspot.
This place was long sealed away until a man named Tremor came and unlocked its secrets.
We actually heard about him a little bit.
Into the depths, alone he descended. Never did he return to the light.
So now he's got really bad light
Nice
sensitivity. I'm not done yet.
About this Tremor, he...
Founded the new youth league, or no, the New Yevon.
Posse? Let's get out of here.
I'm not sure what happened that was scary there. I guess Fireflies did a thing. Let's pose and then retreat. I'm sincere. So we are in the Vio Infinito, and if it works as I recall, the Charm Bangle is ineffective here and you have to fight monsters. And it's basically... The rooms aren't that big or involved, but there's 100 of them. Proceed to one of the great cloisters? No thanks. That's basically an elevator, because every 20 levels you have like an elevator where you can go back up. And when you get to level 100, like every 20 levels there's a boss, and then when you beat the boss you get an elevator, so that you don't have to start at level 1 every time. Score the key item Crimson Sphere 6. Watch the sphere. I can't wait. Not now. I'm going to say not now. We'll watch it later. We'll watch it when we have sphere... the last of the spheres. Within this labyrinth, fiends will appear despite any special abilities or equipment you may be using. So you got an... I think you can retreat at any point. And if you're playing this on an emulator, there would be like nothing to fear, but we will fight a Tonberry, sure. We have nothing to fear from little Tonberries. Tonberries, there's no way Tonberries are going to be a problem in a dungeon like this. Seriously, we're just going to take them out. No biggie. Might have sounded like I was being facetious or joking around about how Tonberries are going to be a problem. No, we're just going to like freaking slaughter this thing. No big deal. Now there are going to be some monsters. Like there'll be regular random monster encounters. There will also be... I'll be coming across one of them soon, probably.
punk.
Here's regular monster encounters. And every regular monster that can be oversold in the game appears somewhere in this dungeon, except for the 2 bosses that we fought back in Chapter 2 with that like crazy puzzle where we're trying to like find a route down to the surface. Back to the surface. Remember when we had the giant fish boss and the giant insect boss that we kept fighting multiple times while trying to engineer platforms to get down to where we got our, I guess it was a ribbon that we got down there in Chapter 2, in the place that looks like this but isn't this. Yeah, those bosses are oversoulable and do not appear in this dungeon. Every other oversoulable enemy in the game appears in this dungeon, which makes it a very convenient place to... come and oversoul every enemy in the game, which is something you need to do to get like the game's best garment grid, or at least the one that I always thought was the best. So in some ways this dungeon is actually really useful to you. It also gets really hard near the end, as you expect in a game like this. 100-story dungeon is going to have a scrolling difficulty level. And the boss that you will fight at the very, very bottom of this dungeon is harder than the final boss of the actual story game. Because that's another Final Fantasy trope going back to at least Final Fantasy VII, I'd say. The idea of bosses that are full dragon system. You can probably give me some examples from earlier in the series. But yeah, bosses that are completely optional and are tougher than anything that you'd have to fight just to win the main story. But all we've really been told about this place is that Trema, who, as we recall, founded the youth... we got the story from Macon. This guy founded the New Yevon party to collect up spheres and study Sphere's past and the secrets of Yevon. But then one day he disappeared. And that's what we're finding out is he came into this dungeon trying to get to the bottom. He to find its secrets, I guess, and never returned. So are we going to find out what happened to him? Maybe. But plot-wise, thematically, this dungeon is this represents the secrets of the mysterious Yevon faith and these dark men who've been controlling the destinies of Sphera for so long, and now we're going to figure out what their deal is, I guess. If you're expecting a really satisfying plot resolution of all the questions and mysteries of the Yevon religion, then you might want to set your expectations a little bit more realistically. But yeah, thematically, it's we're in this really deep and dark dungeon full of secrets and lies, and we're learning break. I should consider, now that I'm actually being forced to do combat, I need to think about whether there's another dress sphere I could be learning. You know what, though? This is, it's not a bad dress sphere to master. The only thing is I know we'll master it. So I'm not that... Oh, I might as well stick with it. Although it might be a good idea to pick up the passive abilities sooner rather than later. That makes this an even better dress sphere. It's the fact that you don't have to... You're not immune to every status, but once you learn all the passive abilities, you're immune to quite a few of the nasty status effects when you're using this dress sphere. And again, as I think I've mentioned before, there's really no boss in the game. If you're properly leveled and have any kind of accessories, there's no boss in the game that can't be beaten with an alchemist and 2 dark knights. The dark knights using the darkness attack and the alchemist constantly healing them, because its damage isn't affected at all by defense. No enemy in the game is immune to that damage. So there's no boss that's been engineered so that it can stand up to that. It's just that it might be slow going. So, as you're probably guessing, it is a bit tedious in here sometimes. I'm going to keep fighting Tonberries till I oversoul and defeat one. At which point, for reasons that may become apparent later, I'm going to probably fight them until it oversouls again and then start running away from the oversouled Tonberries. If you know why I'm doing that, then you know. And if you don't, you'll find out. But yeah, in the early levels, it's a lot of just like really quick, easy battles against jobber enemies. But they kind of have to make it possible to go back and find these enemies again, or else they can make it really difficult for you to earn that one garment grid. I guess we got to get it a little deeper in. So it is possible to avoid fighting this guy. But yeah, eventually there's going to be another enemy that appears on the map where we actually, like on screen, not as a random encounter, but like an enemy that we can try to evade, and if we touch it, we're forced into battle. We can't run away from battles with enemies like that once we get into them. And that enemy is actually a lot more dangerous than a Tonberry. So I think I'm going to want to save my game before getting into a fight with one of those. Flame Dragon, eh? Wow, Flame Dragon is weaker than a Tonberry, apparently. Keep waiting to see Oversold, and I just keep seeing Chef's Knife. This stage in the game, Tonberry is just not as intimidating as they are in, say, Final Fantasy VIII, where they just keep leveling with you. No matter how strong you get, they're always a pain in the ass. Explaining to an online acquaintance of mine, I really appreciated the way that in Final Fantasy VIII, Tonberries give you no experience, they don't really give you a lot of gold. There are some in-game rewards for fighting Tonberries, but they're pretty limited. Overall, it's just... they're bad news. I really appreciate the fact that they give you...
Give me one.
Well, I'm not going to use darkness, so... right now we're still at 1 round. No, we're at 2 now. So it did take 2 rounds. I was right, Riku, you suck. But, I appreciate that instead of like, oh, this is a really dangerous enemy, but if you defeat them, you get like mega elixirs as a drop or something like that. It's like, no, the Tonberries in Final Fantasy VIII are just, they're bad news. If you see them coming, you should avoid them because they're just bad news. Period. So that's not the way out, huh?
Easy. You really think so?
Let's talk. More fight.
Wow, that was easy. I guess this game has a tendency to throw, like, because there's 99 levels of experience level you could be at, they throw enemies that are meant to be tough and intimidating in Act 1 at you, and then you fight them in Act 5, and they kind of suck. It's kind of weird, because I think of the Behemoth with that purple fur color scheme. That is like the true badass monster behemoth of the plot in other games that you wouldn't want to mess with. We're coming up on when I got to think about ending a video. I was really hoping to get to Cloister 20. I hope I get a chance to save before I fight the boss down there too. I think you do. I remember at the very bottom, there's 2 bosses in a row with no opportunity to heal up or save between the first boss and the last boss, which would indicate that if I remember that being an issue, then there must be a way to save before you fight the first of those 2 bosses. But it's a neat concept. I like these deep optional dungeons like this. It's not quite as cool as Lufia 2. Lufia and the Rise of the Sinistrals probably has the best optional dungeon in the game, because it really is like beating it is like a game unto itself. I would put them in a growth-oriented garment grid, except that they all involve you actually switching dress spheres around, and it would prolong battles. Oh, it just like frickin' turned around in the middle of its attack. Don't know how you get an auto haste accessory in this game, but I'd be all over them if I could. Or a haste gust spell in this game would be great. Anyway, it's actually time to call it a video, so we're going to go ahead and do that. When we come back, we're in, like, what was that, level 11? I lost track, but we're, it doesn't actually tell you what level, but on the screen. We are in the Via Infinito, and my plan is to get us down to level 20 to get the Crimson Sphere, and then probably pop out, watch all the Crimson Spheres, and we probably won't return to worrying about the Via Infinito until we've done a lot of other stuff and basically gotten as strong as we can, because beating the Via Infinito is in fact more difficult than beating the main game. I'm the Mysterious JG. I want to thank you guys very much for watching, and I hope you'll join me next time for more Final Fantasy X-2. Bye-bye.